Where did I put that other screw? Oh, there it is. Okay. What I'm going to do is actually make glowing symbols inside the scythe, hopefully. Essentially what I had to do was, you can buy these very large sheets, as I'm sure it blocked out the whole screen. This is frosted plastic, essentially. This is designed for those drop ceilings that you see in offices and stuff. This is a 2 foot by 4 foot sheet. I got it at Lowe's. I think it was like 10 bucks. I'm only going to use a little bit of this, but that will let my light be diffused so you won't see a bunch of bright little lights. Then what I bought, actually I bought that today, what I got in the mail is these little goodies. This is a strip of LED lights. They're flexible, as you can see, and these are yellow. I also have another set coming in that are going to be red, so I can give kind of like a two-tone effect. This was, actually I don't even remember, I think they were like $5 or $6 for a 4-pack or a 5-pack. They're 11 inches long, so I can actually make some neat designs. One thing I like about them is they are skinnier than the width of the wood. So when I cut out this inner part, I'm going to hot glue these along the edge so you won't see the line or the dots. And I was just going to have an on-off switch, and I'm like, that's okay. But I snooped around and found this. I believe it's Jacob's Parts. I will have to double check. I'll put a link to it. This neat little thing, I'll zoom in so you can see it, or I'll bring it up to you, I won't zoom. This is an LED dimmer. Real cheap. I think it was $3.60. It was free shipping, and it controls LEDs. And I just tied these wires together right now just to test the LEDs and the dimmer to make sure it worked. I bought a little 9-volt connector and just some small wire at Radio Shack. I think it was like, I don't know, $2 or something like that, and it's a 5-pack. This is an 8 AA battery holder, little cheapy plastic. Got this at Radio Shack as well. Little bit of knowledge is, I don't know if you can see it, but AA batteries are 1.5 volts. If you wire these in series, what you get is 12 volts coming out the top. And these LEDs are 12 volt. So, what we'll do, we can plug them in. And my wire came in there. That's why you solder wires when you put them in permanently, because you don't want that problem later down the road. Okay, this is a scroll saw. Basically, it is just like a giant jigsaw. It goes up and down. This is the blade. The nice thing is it's got a nice table. You can adjust the angle on it, which is nice. This is a little safety gauge. I only really use that for really small pieces that I can't control, just because the blade does pull up the wood sometimes. What you're going to need to do is drill a hole. I just followed this groove that I made and made a hole big enough to fit this blade through. So you just slide that through. Then this comes down and you get it latched in there. There we go. Tighten it down. Now in the back there's a tensioner. You just slide that down. This blade should be tight. Oops. want this very tight. This is the little, there's supposed to be a bladder in here, but it dried out a long time ago, the joys of living in a hot desert. So the air, this is supposed to blow the sawdust out of your way. Because that bladder doesn't work, I just push that up out of the way for right now. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to follow the line we did to make this opening. The good thing about this having a big throat on it, as you can see, I can move this all the way almost 180 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along this feed here, or this top, and move from there. Make sure it's not touching the wood. Turn it on. Okay. You can set your speed very slow to high. And what I'm going to do, just because I didn't do it yet, I was in a rush to set this up and show you. I have these little clamps on this little table. It's a little Costco table. I think it was like 59 bucks. And the clamps hold down my tools that I tie down on this thing. I do that with my grinder. I do it with this. And that should keep it from bouncing around too much. So, try this again. There you go. Hopefully you can see. And just go slow. Okay, so I cut out the centerpiece. It's still fairly sturdy. I'm surprised. I was a little nervous with this groove being cut and only being between a ½ inch and maybe 3/4 of an inch, close to an inch up here. I was a little concerned, but overall, I think that's going to be solid. And I think once I cut the plastic out to fit over that, I think that's going to help out a lot. Okay, so this is that frosted plastic that I talked about earlier. I'm just using my X-Acto knife. Gordon, I guess, is the brand, but it basically is just an X-Acto knife. This one's comfortable in my hand, so that's the one I use. This is any straight edge will work, but I use this. This is a T-square, or not a T-square, but a framing square. So what I do, take that tip off, because it's always in the way, and I'm just scoring this. And I go along the metal edge. Put the safety cap back on that so I don't stab myself. And what I'm going to do is bend this up. And that ain't going to work, so I have to score it one more time. Normally you'll hear it cracking. I bend it the other way is probably better. I've done this cutting hard plastic ones. This one's flexible, so I may need to bend it the other way, just to make it work. So there we go.